it's working, hopefully. I'm very tired today. So this is bound to be an interesting one. Hello. I sort of hope that Dying Fletchman shows up, although I don't really know. I don't remember if he's been showing up for Alphabet streams lately. At the very least, this will wind up archived, though. So, obviously there is a new hold that's come out that, at least in the way that Drawd handles the alphabet, comes before O in alphabetical order, which means that it is time to go looking at it. I had some involvement in helping start to build the custom element this is based on, but I didn't ever actually have time to look at the hold itself once it actually started being built. I just never really found the time to. I made sure to download the updated version slightly that was posted in the thread. No, we did. Well, I don't know. Are we? If we look at O's, we're at this. This is where we actually are. Last time, I think I stopped off at Outposts, probably. But there is a new hold that comes before this in alphabetical order, which is new. So I need to go back and look at it, as has been my habit previously. I've seen the Island of Doom. It is not solvable by me. So, but let's look at this. Yeah. So I've been there. I've done... This is the distance in just things that are currently downloaded to this thing and how far what I'm doing now is from what I'll do next. Because I've done everything in between. You can see a few 100% for holds that were, I guess, short or didn't have any didn't have any secrets. Anyway, so this is by Dying Fletchman. It features a new element, which is very interesting. Beethro barely managed to hold on to a large piece of driftwood as the ship went down the waves. Peddling? Why is he trying to sell something while he's being drowned? Okay. Peddling with all his remaining force, Beethro approached a distant island with capital I. But first things first. Okay. Cutscenes. It was a late evening after a long day of smiting. Beethro was trying to read a book. Okay. Beethro reads books, apparently. Hi, Uncle Beethro. What? Wait, stop. Who's there? Oh, sorry. Hi, Alf. What are you doing? I'm reading a... Will you put that sword back into the stand, please? Sorry, Uncle. What are you reading? It's called... Now, what are you doing? Stay out of the kitchen. Why are you keeping those skulls here? I'm not keeping... Yeah, you are. And there's a whole pile of them in the backyard, too. It doesn't matter. You want to hear about the book? It's called The Island of Dr. Morso. It's about some freaky scientist on an island creating monsters by stitching animals together. That sounds cool. Can I read it? Sure, you can have it when I finish it. But now it's time to go to sleep. Good night, Alf. Well, that was abrupt. I think Beethro's parenting skills check out, though. Or, I don't know, uncling skills? He's basically telling a child, yeah, you can read this horrifying book, I don't care. What's Goldie? Anyway. Skulls, huh? Anyway. This hold contains some complicated scripting. Thanks to Zendaris and Mauve Butterfly for testing and commenting on it. Thanks to Mike Reimer for permission to use the serpent sprites as base graphics. I'm credited as playtesting this, but I don't remember playtesting any of the actual puzzles. I messed around with the elements, like basic explanation rooms, and that's about it. So I guess since he said Half is right, it doesn't make sense to keep these skulls in the kitchen. I'll put them with the other ones next to my collection of gravestones. What? I guess I'm not putting the book away. I won't need my sword in bed, I guess. Alright. Okay, we just automatically go here. As Beethro approached the island... Hello. Just looking at the new hold. As Beethro approached the island, he was relieved to find some ramshackle buildings. At least this place was inhabited. However, he was soon disturbed by the sight of a hideous serpent-like monster that he'd never seen before. Yep. Hydra. Oh. That is fascinating. Just look at this. I mean, I guess that needed to exist. And never come back, you overactive garden hose. Okay. Well, it doesn't look like I can... Oh, wait, there's cracked walls. Log 135529. Finally, I have managed to create the ultimate monster by stitching together multiple serpent parts. Unfortunately, the Hydra remains vulnerable at the seams. Vulnerable. I regret not taking part in this, in the testing of this, as I probably could have at least pointed out a few spelling errors. It's alright. So anyway, I thought there was like a tutorial section or something. Oh, the graphics? Something's going on with the animation there. When it turns? Anyway, I guess because that was the damage... the damage sound Dying Clutchman chose for it. At least it sounds like something is being hit. Anyway, so this is a Hydra. It's vulnerable in the middle, but if you cut it, it produces more Hydras. And it's absolutely, completely insane that anyone has managed to produce a custom serpent of any kind in pure scripting. Anyway, I'm pretty sure its movement behavior is very distinct from that of regular serpents also. Although maybe you can tell. It's not following a 5-turn cycle or anything. I don't actually know exactly how its movement works. Anyway, it's kind of like, if you remember that adders are vulnerable at the front and rattlesnakes are vulnerable at the tail, then perhaps it makes sense to describe this as the logical third conclusion, even though of course you had serpents first that are vulnerable nowhere but need to be led into a dead end. I don't know how to get him in there. Mainly I'm not really sure how to lead him east when he's trying to go south? Maybe. I don't know. Ah! There we go. Nice. Fire traps can kill the head. Good to know. A seep on ortho squares. Alright. How? I'm not sure if I understand the comparison. Like, how is it like a seep when seep don't move? I don't know. Log 733821. My training room works wondrous for the Hydra. They learn each day. They will now always move toward any delver they see, when tied for options, preferences, north, south, west, east. Okay. Well, that explains a little bit. So I guess I need to do this for some reason. What's this? What am I doing here? I guess I want him to follow me. Oh, okay. And what? How? What is this? Oh, okay. I see. This is not a thing about Seep that I'm terribly familiar with, if I'm being honest. How do I... What do I want to do in this room? Do I want to... Wait, you can't move over my sword. That's different. I mean, that's to be expected, I guess, but it is kind of odd, since normal serpents can exist under sword all they want. Right, what does this room want from me? Okay, so something I know... Excuse me. Something that I know from reading some of the posts during the development of this entity is that a 2-tile Hydra is impossible to kill except on things like fire traps. It's impossible to kill with your sword because there are no middle segments. So, okay, I have to go north here, and I have to push this button. So what? How do I leave then? I'm pretty sure the goal of this room is to open this, but I don't understand how this construction is supposed to be escapable under any conditions. So if you enter, then you have to go and push this button. But if you push this button, then you close something that shouldn't be closed. So what am I supposed to do then? Because not only Beethro, but also the snake need to have a way to get out of that out of here. I guess if it's already closed, then it should open. But no, if I do that, then it can't get out. And this guy can't get out. So how is this supposed to work? Because either I can't get out, or the Hydra can't get out. And there's no way to reopen that door. So what does it want me to do? I really have no idea. The note that's in this area suggests that I'm supposed to do something. I don't know. It suggests that the behavior of targeting and chasing is important for this, but I don't understand how that's important. Like, it is definitely much harder to push a Hydra into a box than even a regular serpent of any direction. Because of course it's much better at following the player than a real serpent it would be. I guess I can keep it at bay by putting my sword in its way, which is a very strange manipulation tactic. Yeah, I guess that must be it. Oh, okay, I got it. Okay, I understand what I need to do. So, Hydras are best manipulated by using your sword, which is one of the most absolutely bizarre things to say about a snake variant that I could imagine. So I already forgot what order that scroll said, but I bet he prefers going west, going north and then west, perhaps. So I should put him south of me with my sword facing southish, and him in the correct line, and then he'll have no choice but to keep going west. Or at the very least, his choice will be to keep going west. And then after that, I should reside south of him. I admit that I can easily imagine that maybe this behavior of respecting a sword quite so heavily is not really necessarily originally intended behavior, but it is fascinating how useful it is. Let's see. I think I should be east of him, probably, to promote going south. Oh, never mind. Oh, what? Oh. I'm not sure if that's intended to look like that. It probably is just a consequence of the fact that you couldn't really... I guess if you wanted to make it look right, quote-unquote, you would have to code a completely different segment specifically for it being on top of a door. Regular snake sprites don't look like that. I guess you could argue that maybe that's because of the fact that it's snake parts stitched together or something. Okay, what is our goal here? There's a conquer token. Sure. Someone needs to stand here and let me get that. And then there's a whole lot of these. There's a roach. So someone needs to be standing on these while I'm way over here somewhere to get that roach to go. Or no, okay. This is a briar root. We just need to press all these buttons at once, I guess. Let's see. So that's my first goal, is to get all these buttons down at once. And then if I can achieve that, then afterward I should focus on getting the conquer token, which does at least appear to be a separate issue. I really need to be ahead of him at this point. I don't know. I just don't quite have enough room. Aha! Well, I was able to do it for like one turn. I don't see how to keep him rotating, though. I don't know. By the time I can get him back on that button, he's going to have closed off all the rest and killed most of the briar. Which of course makes me feel like I might be doing this wrong, but I don't see really how else I can do this. I mean, I guess I could split him up and have even less snake to work with. Oh, what did I do right? I don't know what I did differently, but I guess this works. Alright, so at this point, I just need to have a short enough one to ferry him along the raft, because I'm pretty sure he is not heavy enough. Oh, look at that. He can just fall right off the raft. Alright, that's an easy way to cut him. I don't even think he cares if it's the, yeah. You can kill him, the uncuttable version, even by just dropping him off a raft. Alright, so make a two-tile one, and then try and manipulate him into not dying as he goes onto this island here. Okay. Oh, wonderful. Okay, now just drop him off this raft again. Of course, the most fascinating and fun version of this puzzles that I could imagine with this creature is to put him alongside other serpents. Okay, what is all this? So, I need somebody to stand here and close that door. But that will make... but if he's not... So preferably I want him to stick himself in that position, but with me somewhere that puts the roach in a good place. I guess what I could do is try to trap him against himself first. Probably? I think Adder kind of attacks in a stabbing kind of way. Sort of. Alright, so I think I need to close this door twice. That's what I'm reading here. The first time I close it, I need to move that mirror somewhere that is actually helpful. And then I need to cut this guy so that, or heck, actually, why do that? I'm just going to take this... oh, I can't take the mirror with me. That explains that. So I need this mirror to put somewhere so that when the door opens, I can put the roach in a killable spot. Alright, I'm going to try just cutting exactly where... oops. Okay. Now, I need to lure the roach to the other side of the mirror, and not a shorter guy. Hopefully I didn't need the other guy, but I can't see any reason why I would. Well, I can't see an easy way to use the second Hydra to trap this one. Especially one as short as that. To some extent, this is a puzzle you make difficult for yourself, depending on how exactly you knot him up and wind up cutting him. I think I cut him almost as short as possible. I could have cut into a 2-tile, but then I wouldn't be able to kill. So yeah, I cut him as short as I cut the extra Hydra as short as possible, in my estimation. Which means this one is as long as I could hope him to be. So I'm having some difficulty still holding him in place. Is there enough of him to hold in place, I wonder? By himself? I guess I should try to cut tiles. I mean, count tiles or something. Alright, well... just get me back. Here we go. Alright, so here. I don't know what I can do differently. I guess if I cut him there... oh yeah, if I cut him here, he's got 1 tile more. But he's also still free. I'm not sure what governs... oh, never mind. I was going to think something about facing, but what's going on is that this segment right here is being turned into the head, and the head gets a move after Vithro's turn. So he winds up facing south for that reason. So this is 1 extra tile longer by my count. Maybe even more, actually, since I cut 2 tiles off, but no more than that. Where instead of chopping off a 3 length... oh yeah. Thank you for the reminder. That would have been a little upsetting. Unfortunately, the one, biggest disadvantage of the way that this is all handled and scripted is that, unlike Snakes, there is no handy thing attached to his name that tells you how long he is. And I can't even conceptualize a good way to have done that, even if you wanted to. You would have to have you would have to either have access to a variable entity name, which I'm 100% sure we don't have, or you would have to invent a new character for a new name for every possible length of Hydra that you could imagine existing, which would go from it would go from 2T to whatever the max size of a room T is. Although I imagine a Hydra that big is probably going to break undo because scripting. I noticed even in a couple of in one of the earlier rooms we were doing, where there's just one, not even all that long Hydra, that the sheer amount of scripting present just to drive this machine was making undo lag a little bit, which is absolutely an impressive amount of scripting. I mean, if I think about the blocks that I made for Blockature Science Laboratories, I can have, there's thousands of lines of scripting in a single block, and I can have like 10 of them in a room and no problem. No issues undoing whatsoever. At least that I can remember. This guy, just having one of him that's a little too long could be an issue. Yes, you can make an infinite loop, but that's not what I'm referring to. And actually, if you make an infinite loop that takes place within a single turn, the Draught actually handles that by making the command halt forcefully, so that the character running the commands just stops working completely. Which is why you have to be very careful if you're going to make some kind of recursive function that's supposed to take place within a single turn, that it's not going to be too big. Because Draught essentially just counts how many, I guess, calculations or actions or whatever are happening within a single turn. If it exceeds some particular limit, I think it just cuts it off. Generally speaking, Draught is of course just fine with a infinite loop that takes place over multiple turns, because at least the player has control. I mean, just in general, every entity in the entire game is an infinite loop that takes place over multiple turns. So there's not really any issue with that. Yeah, I'm pretty familiar with that. In fact, Conway is so bad that it can break your ability to view demos in the entire hold, I think. Or no, it breaks demo verification if you're trying to load a player file that has Lavender levels in it and has a particularly long or bad demo in Conway. Something like that. Basically, it's a bad idea to try and transfer saves involving too long of a demo from that, I think. So it's certainly not the first thing. Obviously, this wouldn't be the first thing to have giant demos. I cannot make this work. I think I'm missing some crucial element of strategy here. I just can't make this work. I've just been wandering around him this whole time, and I can't seem to get him trapped no matter what I try. I don't know, maybe the idea is to cut him in such a way that one of the bodies is easy to trap against the other, but that also seems really difficult. Obviously what I wanted to do was just pull the mirror out and then push the button with that, which I think I can make work, maybe? At the very least, having the mirror available would have been a good way to help have a wall to stop this guy against instead of trying to undo himself. I mean, instead of trying to block him against himself. I don't know. I feel as if I'm missing something, certainly. Is there? Yeah. I guessed it was something like that. I'm not as good at computer science terminology like stack frames. I mean, I know what it is, but I'm very bad about using such terminology, if that makes any sense. I guess I know abstractly what it is, but not... When I read a description of what it is, then I get really confused very quickly, usually. Yeah. I don't know how to do this. I'm just not sure I understand the correct mechanics to get him to knot himself when he's this short. Maybe I've been close several times and just not realized it? If he were just slightly longer, I could make that work. Alright, I guess... Okay. I have an idea. Let's pull him away. Far to the south. Bring him on this track right here. I need to not be in that position, though. I know what I want to do, but it's a little hard to make work. Much less to communicate. Okay. Maybe if I'm facing this way it will work. That's almost it. There we go. Perfect. That is exactly long enough, too. Okay. Let's see if I can just make this easier. Yes. Okay. I took way too long to do that. Oh. Whoa, there's a whole nest of them here. Ugh. Also, I can't words, I guess. Well, some of these... Oh, I see what I need to do. Okay. Hydra is weirdly tar-like in some ways. There's a parody thing going on, similar to tar cutting. So I need to get up against this mimic. Yeah, this is what I mean. Much like tar, sometimes you need a double stab to be successful. And there sure is a lot of them. Hang on. I guess it's not actually a good idea to let one of them get trapped in the wrong way either. Alright, I can be a little closer. And I need the mimic to not just arbitrarily trap himself, really. Mobile tar stuff. What will we think of next? I mean, other than tar babies, which don't count. Oh boy. How do I do this? GM Rubik's, who are you on the Drod forums, if you're on them? I don't actually... There's a good chance that you've told me before, but I just don't remember. I just cannot get close enough to my mimic without all of these snakes going too close to me. Oh, okay. Alright. That makes sense. Maybe it sounds a little strange, but I recognize your typing style at this point. I recognize it now that you've told me as being the same person. Maybe that makes sense. Oh boy. This is horrifyingly a thing. So I need to be close to the mimic, but no matter what I do, nearly every movement that I make is going to push the mimic far away from me if I try to get... I don't know. Maybe if I start in a different position it would help. Also if I'm already facing the same direction as the mimic. guess you have a distinctive way of phrasing things that's very recognizable. It's certainly not a bad thing. Okay, this is a little better. Okay, I know what the problem is. Being next to my mimic where I can double stab something. Also means being, alright, so maybe, maybe I could make this where I don't have to be next to the mimic to double stab. That would help. So, like this. But not spoiling it by going into the water, though. One down. Oof. This is quite a room. Sorry. I have been coughing on and off for like 2 weeks now. Since that time when I had a really, really bad cough and I had to call off the stream entirely. Yeah, I would rather do this maybe with 1 or 2 of them. It's a very hard room, but maybe not for good reasons. Because the complication really is very much the fact that, like, the only way to get in a good position to double stab is to be right up against these mobile monsters that are trying very hard to kill you. And as soon as you've executed a double stab, I don't know, the mimic is either in the way or it has snakes in its way of getting back to me, which makes it really difficult to kill anything without just getting irreparably stuck. Because even if I successfully kill one of them, then I'm badly positioned with the mimic to kill another, and the mimic gets trapped between a bunch of them, and I can't do anything about it, because trying to move the mimic around just makes him stab one of them in an inappropriate manner, in an unhelpful way. Well, okay, I understand fundamentally what this room wants me to do. It's just very difficult to do it. This room has a seat, I guess. I don't seem to be able to access it yet, so let's just move on. Can I move through this room, or am I stuck here? Trap formed near the southeast of the room. Maybe? I don't know. Another part of the problem is that even if I can trap one of them, I have to have access to all of its sides still. What is going on here? Okay, we have Brain. Does Brain affect him at all? Well, I guess this scroll might have something to tell me. The Hydra are so clever by themselves, comma, that a brain won't make them any smarter. Smarter than a brain. Who would have thought that? I think it would have been hilarious if the brain is giving them unhelpful directions, so it actually makes them less useful. Like it actually makes a... Like, imagine if the brain made the Hydra stupider. That would be kind of funny. What am I looking at here exactly? So,
my name is
on-off
Beetle.
toggle. Be quiet, Beethro. And that toggles a force arrow. Alright, I think I want this guy behind me in the tunnel, and I need to press things in such a way that the brain roach can move, and I need to do that 3 or 4 times. Okay. Or actually, I just need the roach out so I can trap each of them against a button, Okay, this last time I'll just have this guy do it himself, perhaps. Oh, I don't want to be in there. So I want to push him in there, hopefully. There we go. Well, it's not perfect, but... maybe I can make a little more progress if I push him in there again. Or actually, yeah, there we go. This is what I want. So I need to somehow open both of these doors. I guess that's fine so far. Actually, maybe that's not good. So, I think I need the Hydra to hit that button on the west side. And then I can have the roach help me with the east side. Maybe. Like, yeah, if I'm in this position on the other side, then he should dodge onto the button, maybe? And then I could maybe use that to my advantage? Unfortunately, having a roach following me through all this is not helpful for my goal of getting the Hydra onto the button. Oh, come on. Is this what I want? I don't feel like this is what I want. Because somebody needs to stand here, and I don't see a way to trap a roach there. Granted, I don't easily see how to trap a roach here either, but I think it seems more plausible than the other way. For some reason I had a brief thought that the island of Dr. Moreau was some kind of James Bond thing. I'm pretty sure it's not. It's just some science fiction that someone else wrote at some point, right? I'm not very familiar with it. I get my islands very easily mixed up. There are lots of James Bond villains that have islands. Okay, I need him to turn around and go north like that. And then I need to be exactly east of him once he's trying to be near the button. There we go. Okay. Now I have to only manipulate one creature, and maybe I can manage a roach. No promises. Alright, so I was hoping that I could do something like this, or... oh, there we go, that works. It was easier than I thought. I didn't expect that to work necessarily as well as it did. Okay then. So this is a room. Yep. Remote manipulation of thing that is very difficult and slippery to control. And naturally this has to be an on-off tied to a toggle. Oh, H.G. Wells. Okay. That makes sense. I don't know what I mean exactly by that. Yeah, shallow water. I caught on to the existence of shallow water not long after I started complaining about this room. So, we want to pull him... oh, come on. So... I'll just do this. Maybe this will work. Just barely, but now I can't leave if I go in. I don't think he's long enough. Or I have to approach this some other way. So I need 5 turns, which I don't have if I come from there. Nope. Is there any shallow water I can only take... No? Is there any shallow water that's only 3 turns away from this conquer token? Oh, maybe... Hold on. Maybe I need him to be another tile to the west to get a new... to get a better location. So I need him to be at the far left wall, but better positioned than this. It is tough to achieve, though, since the shallow water is kind of placed in such a way that it's exactly too close to the outermost sections of the little room. If that makes any sense. It's very easy to be visible from inside the room. Wait, what? Oh, what did I do that for? I knew that I had places to go in there at 4 turns, and instead I was trying to go in there at 5 turns. Alright, so let's just do the same dance again. This part almost seems irrelevant. I think if I built this room, I would probably make it so that so that the conquer token is a one-use pressure plate that explodes a bomb in there, or just makes the entire room turn on a bunch of fire traps. Something like that. That's just me, though. I mean, the trick to kill the snake is basically a much easier version of a trick you need to... what? Oh, shallow water. Duh. The trick you need to kill the snake there is exactly the same as the trick to get the button down for enough turns, except that it's easier, which seems mildly silly. What's with this tunnel? Is there anything else attached to it? Oh, okay, there's a tunnel going west to here. This kind of formation of obstacles is always very hard to read. I mean, I think obviously there are plenty of rooms in older holds that intentionally make use of the fact that this is incredibly hard to read. Is this guy supposed to be trapped once I get in here? Because it seems like no matter what I do, he gets trapped by the time I get in here. But no, that can't be right. I can't untrap him if I don't have a sword. So there has to be something you can do to not... Oh, shallow water probably. Just be invisible to him as long as possible. And he won't trap himself like an idiot quite as quickly. That is a thing. So what am I seeing here? Someone has to go in here. I guess what I need to do is try to cut this snake with a fire trap, but not kill him, just cut him a little shorter. Maybe preferably 3 tiles. I guess 2 tiles is good also. I'm pretty sure it's okay. Although I'm not sure I can manipulate him into place when he's only 2 tiles long. When he's only 2 tiles long and I don't have a sword, I'm not sure if I can put him into place. So, preferably, he should be a little longer. Maybe just 3 tiles is enough. Maybe not. I really want him to go in here and be stuck in there and then go west. So, the ideal, well, I guess he can't be longer than 3 tiles because he has to be in here, but I have to be able to cross past him. So 3 tiles is it. He could be 2 tiles long, and I think that would be okay, but 3 tiles is in theory easier to manipulate and is the longest that's acceptable. I'm just not sure how to push him in somewhere without a sword, because he's just gonna follow me ultra accurately instead. Oh, I bet. Dying Fletchman has consistently pulled off scripting that I thought was completely impossible numerous times so far. I still haven't looked at his scripting because some part of me is convinced it must be black magic. It's certainly very impressive what it's capable of achieving. I mean, when I consider the kind of simple, if you've ever seen Degonium, his whole Degonium, the thing about that is that for this element that's supposed to be like glowing, he wanted it to have like a circle of glowing around it, which also indicates what kills you. Basically, Degonium is a pushable that kills you and any other creature that's adjacent to it, and any of the 8 tiles adjacent to it. So he wanted to make like a circular glow that lights up the 8 tiles adjacent to it to tell you what it can kill. So somehow he made a way of just making that default entities that can just tag themselves onto the correct piece of Degonium. I think just based on placement order in the editor or something. No, not lighting, it's actually other ghost displayed entities. With a like when I say it's a glowing light, I mean it's graphics that look like that. In Drod scripting terms, what they are ghost display entities. Yeah, I said that seems impossible. Maybe your best bet is to do hard-coded entities. And then he posted in the thread where he'd asked how to do this. Never mind, I figured it out, basically. Yeah. I can't even make water and oil barrels well behaved without a separate entity that keeps track of exactly where they are, and completely static variables that it pulls every single turn, and even then it's not always consistent what happens or when it happens. And he manages this. I mean, admittedly the goals are slightly different, but something similar. It's the same kind of thing where I would expect you just have to use a non-default entity, like a static one. Yeah, I tried to build some kind of mole creature for Beethro's Awakening. I don't even remember what its behavior was supposed to be, but it completely bugged itself out and just wouldn't work. I bet I could throw the idea at Dying Fletchman, and with some very slight variation he could just make it work. The idea was that the mole can be underneath floor and wall, but it can't be underneath things that go into the underground. So it can't be. It can go under a closed door, but not an open door. And I think it couldn't go under pressure plates because pressure plates kind of sink into the ground. I forget how exactly it worked, but the way it attacks, or the way it's supposed to attack, is when it gets adjacent to what it wants to kill. I think it pops out and then it hits you, or it's supposed to pop out and hit you at the same time, but if you move, then it kind of just sits there stunned for a second, and that's when you can do things to it. Because you can't hurt it when it's underground, of course, because it's underground and you don't have a shovel or anything. I'm not sure of the puzzle capabilities. I just thought it would be cool to have something to have something for which the behavior of doors is kind of backwards. Okay, I have no idea how to manipulate this guy into position. I wonder... Wait a minute. No, okay. For a second there I was like, wait, can't I just loop through this tunnel and go get my sword? No, I can't do that. How do I push this guy in here without having a sword, though? I don't know how to do that. But yeah, what happened to the mole thing was basically its movement code would bug completely out for no reason I could work out. I could not figure out why, but its movement code would completely bug out and just refuse to work. And it would target random tiles, it would just run around randomly. I couldn't make sense of what was going on. Basically, I just cannot figure out any good way, generally, to make a custom-coded movement behavior that's supposed to chase something. That's the thing that Why does this work? Okay, this is fine. I'm happy with this, but wow. It just works if you can get standing in that exact position, I guess. Yeah. It's just, I eventually determined that trying to understand what was going wrong just wasn't worth it, because I just couldn't see what was happening at all with the code. How do I get to the south side of this area? I've got to reach that raft somehow. Let's see if I can find a way around these mountains. Okay. I guess I'm trying to reach that raft for some reason. Okay, well I can't go past the mountains here. They're really just rocks. They're kind of molehills, honestly. Oh, can you? I guess that makes sense. Oh, okay. Once again, this kind of diagonal pathing through obstacles is very hard to see. Alright. So, what does this say? The Hydra seem to get out of control. They keep escaping my research facilities, and I need to employ ever more convoluted methods to outwit them and kill them. I guess in the island of Dr. Moreau, his creations wound up killing him or something. I wouldn't be surprised. I guess we're not pushable? That's the impression I get. Alright, so presumably I need to find a way to trap this guy on hot tiles using this roach. I'm not totally sure how to do that, all things considered. So how many walls do I have access to? I have access to the snake part that's behind what I'm trying to kill. I have access to the roach, and I have access to my stick. That's it, right? That's it, right? I don't have access to more than 3 walls. And I need 4 walls to trap him. So how do I trap him on this hot tile? Huh. Do I... hang on. I can let the roach out early, and I can just try to start stabbing this guy, but that's not gonna work. I feel like there must be a purpose to letting the roach out early, because why else would there be a cracked wall there? But I'm not sure. I mean, yeah, but I don't actually know what the interaction with hot tiles is. I'm operating under the assumption that the hot tile will cut off just one of his body parts, in which case, by the time that he's only 2 or 3 wide, or 2 or 3 long, then I don't have the back to be used as a wall for him, if that makes any sense. Now, I don't know that that's how hot tiles work. Maybe he just dies instantly if he can't move on a hot tile, but I can't think of any reason why it would work like that. Is the head vulnerable to hot tiles? Because it's invulnerable to swords. I guess that could make sense, though. That would be a good source of confusion, certainly. Naturally, one's assumption tends to be that something immune to swords is immune to hot tiles, but that's certainly not true for Wubbas. So, it's not like it's without precedent. This is ultra tricky to make work, though, because, well, if... I have what I have in mind, but it's difficult to conceptualize it into words. So it's a geometric thought. Like if I manage to have two parts of him blocking him at the same time, the only realistic way to do that is if there's like this. Is if he has 1, 2, 3, 4, like that. So if he goes here, 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 and here, or something a rotation of that, which means that I would need the roach and my sword to be in the two opposite sides from there. But usually, in fact seemingly always, the only places that I can keep the roach and my sword in general are going to be opposite places, where I kind of need adjacent places for this to work. Maybe I can just orbit him around me for a second and achieve something useful? Maybe? He should go west here for this to work, but instead he's going to go south. There. That's it. 4 walls. Nothing's happening. Look, I don't know how he behaves with hot tiles. But apparently that's not it. Okay, next guess is that I'm supposed to stick him 1 tile north of there, so that his back end is on the hot tile, in which case I theoretically have 4 walls to work with if I can get my stick and the roach into the correct positions. So I need him to be going either north or east. The roach has to be... Yeah, I need this, except that I have to be 1 tile to the north of here, somehow. The move order is all wrong. I guess maybe these guys move after all monsters? It's hard to tell. So I need this, except the roach has to be 1 tile farther away to begin with? How? How? How even? It doesn't feel natural for something that moves or resembles a snake to just not go under my sword. I keep thinking he's going to go under it at some point, even though I know he won't. It's weird. How? How can I get the roach to the right position? I just don't see it happening. Maybe this? But then I'm too far to the south and I can't do anything about it. I need this, except I'd have to be another tile north, which is impossible because the roach would be another tile north. Or the roach would slip right by the serpent's head. can stick him in place here. Fat lot of good that does now. Just all the moving parts do not interact in a helpful manner. The roach is always going to be in the wrong position for what I need, no matter which direction I try to push this. Basically, the roach is going to very consistently be in the wrong position relative to Beethrow because he's trying to chase after Beethrow. It doesn't help that this is very picky about direction. I think this would be easier maybe if there were more hot tiles. Like if there were one hot tile at each diagonally adjacent place to that rock. This might be more doable. It would make keeping the roach and Beethrow alive slightly harder, but I wouldn't have to worry as much about exactly what direction the Hydra's going in. As it stands, I don't see how to make this work. Let's just see what's up with this. What up with this? We have a fluff vent. I think the goal... Oops. I think the goal is to have the Hydra kill the fluff in a manner which gives you a path to the rock golem. So I basically just need to stand here and keep the Hydra busy until the puff can get close enough to be underwater. Alright. So did he get shorter at all? Wait. It looks like it didn't hurt him. Which, at least in part, I think suggests why he might get a rock golem style death sound. I guess generally... No, usually serpents die to fluffs. They usually can shrink all kinds of serpents, including red ones. So this is pretty unusual that he's completely immune to them. But it would sort of explain why... I guess it gels very well with his coloration and his death sound being rock golem-like. I'm not totally sure I'm doing the right thing. Do I need an abundance of puffs? Or do I just need one in the right place? Seems like I just need to kill one adjacent to the rock golem, right? Timing's all wrong. Okay, let's just pull the puff north first. Oop, don't want that. There we go. Wait, what? Why didn't that make a shallow water? What? Did something break? Why isn't that making thin ice? What? Am I missing something? What is the interaction here? Does the head not make thin ice, but the body does? It doesn't make any sense. Why? Why though? What? Why? I don't understand, but whatever. Sure, I guess. Why is it like that? Why is the head not make thin ice, but the body does? What? What even? Okay, so this looks like a straightforward puff shuffling room where I just need to make like a... I just need to make a puff-based trap in which to bonk this guy. I guess? That is so weird. It's just... what? Anyway. Unfortunately, this is mostly just manipulating Puff while this guy harasses me and tries to destroy all the Puff, which is really less than ideal in a lot of ways, as a puzzle idea. What is the best way to move this Puff around? Well, I guess I have to detach 3 at a time off. Maybe I could just crawl it north. Crawl it northeast 1 trio at a time or something. I don't have the freedom to push the Puff into position that I need it in while there is a serpent, a Hydra, all up in my face. I really need that corrected somehow. Oh, that kind of worked, but not really. It's not where I wanted you to go. This is all sideways. No! Stop killing yourself. That's sort of what I want, right? No. Could you just go away for 2 seconds? So I could do what I need to do. Please. Okay, that's kind of where I wanted them, maybe. Now how can I trap this guy using that onto the button? I need you to go north again, please. I'll give this credit to normal snakes. It's usually a lot easier than with these guys to make them go the opposite direction from where B-throw is, which is often completely necessary for any snake-based puzzle whatsoever. These guys are almost impossible to send in the wrong direction. I guess the north preference means that I should have this aligned to the north of him, of the button, instead of the south of the button, and that would work better. It's just such a complete pain to try to move any of this ever. I really don't want to. Like, just give me more Puff to work with. If you're gonna put me in a position where I'm trying to both wrestle with the puff and with something that just arbitrarily kills lots of puff in its regular routine. Like, just give me more than the tiniest little bitty amount to work with in this situation. Like, I feel like when it comes to puff shuffling puzzles, you should either give me the restriction of having exactly enough for my task, or the restriction of having something harass me while I'm trying to shuffle it. Not both at the same time. Like, give me, like, at least a 3x3 to start with, so that killing one or two of them won't completely ruin everything. Ah, finally, I found a place to just hold him for a second. This is almost good. Maybe I'll just sit here and then I can push things again in a minute. There. No. I need to push the bottom side, not the top side. Okay. Don't reform. Get moving. Stop that. No! Stop killing yourselves on the stupid Hydra. No. What'd I just say? Hold on a second. It being sunset as usual at this time, the sun was getting in my eye. I guess that tells you my window faces west, but I don't feel like that's terribly identifying information. Lots of windows face west, right? I guess if you had the ability to summon something that killed everyone looking west, looking a particular cardinal direction, it would matter. But I think if you have that kind of power, why would I be important to you? This is just a giant pain. There's no better description for what this is except painful. Well, if somebody weren't right up against me, then I could have just pushed that last puff into position and be done. But no, the stupid snake has to be here all the time. This room would be much better if the Hydra was just in a trap and I could pull him out when I need him instead of having him in my way the entire room. This would be an immensely better room with that. Come on. Part of the problem is that there's no way to create the needed shape by just handling 2 puffs at the same time. You have to have 3 of them, and they have to be exactly in the perfect alignment in order for it to form the shape you need. Once again, if I just had 1 more puff, then I would be done here. But no, we had to restrict it to the absolute minimum at the expense of making the room, you know, not a giant pain. Really? At the very least, give me something to trap the stupid Hydra in until I'm ready for him. Like some kind of place that he can't get out of arbitrarily, or at least will stay in for a few turns, so that I can do something other than deal with the stupid Hydra nonstop. Give me something to work with. This is ridiculous. Maybe? I don't know. I can't test it as long as there's a live puff around. And I'm sure not going to undo my progress just to try it when it might not work. You've got to be kidding me. is always completely infuriating when you push a puff into the exact correct position, but then the other ones move, so that you can't have what you need. And you have to start over again, essentially. I kind of wish that they had a little more bias toward reforming a shape. Toward forming, I forget which one is which, like puff forming fluff or fluff forming puff. I kind of wish that if I push something into position, then it would go ahead and form into a blob before letting the other ones move away from the position, from the formation, allowing them to be a blob. If that makes any sense. Okay, finally I have what I've been trying to get forever. Now hopefully this actually works. I think I need to be a little farther out. Not that far out. There. There. Why is this... Is that just a cracked wall or what? What a weird place to put a broken wall. It lends credence to the theory that I was maybe supposed to put the Hydra in there. It's hard to tell though. Oh, look at that. We have our answer. Adders just eat up Hydras right where they're weak. Which is sort of odd, since adders usually won't eat tar stuff where it's weak. Alright, so what do I need to do here? Okay. Yeah. Why would I want this? I guess, how am I to interpret this? I guess this is a, My best guess is that I'm supposed to trap the adder, but make him go south and not north, so that he's actually... Why? I'm south of you. Don't go north. Ah. I'm thinking that I'm supposed to trap the adder in such a way that pushing the disarm token button frees him, which is going to be extremely irritating and difficult to accomplish because, of course, it's going in the wrong direction. Now what? Do I push this? How do I open that? What? What? Do you want me to... What do you want me to do here? Well, I can't do that, so... What? Maybe, hold on. Am I supposed to enter in a different direction? So that the adder... Like, that's really kind of arbitrary, but sure, I guess. If you just so happen to not walk in the correct way, then the room becomes impossible, I guess. Alright, cool. So I think I still need the adder to be going south in that little alcove area, and I want this Hydra to go north in there. Thankfully, it's very easy to push a Hydra north, to pull a Hydra north. Okay, this must be what it wanted from me. The idea, I guess, is that we're choosing between having an adder, which can eat the Hydra, or having another Hydra, which isn't helpful. Because if the adder can eat up the Hydra, then you can wind up with an adder on a hot tile, which is easy enough to kill with a hot tile. Adders aren't very good at outpacing this guy, though. Or to put it another way, Hydras are very good at outpacing regular snakes, huh? So I guess the adder can only eat the middle section, which is kind of funky, but okay. I'm not even sure how you arrange that. I guess the middle sections are given the vulnerable state? At any rate, how do I do this? It feels very much like... Sorry. It feels very much like something is wrong with their relative parity. Like the adder is just not aligned correctly to eat the middle, because he's always trying to bog against the front or back. You move after the adder, don't you? Yep. I think maybe the rule is that hydras always move after regular monsters, but it's hard to tell without either looking at the code or actually trying to see. How can I correct this? Oh, don't go in there. I don't see how to fix this. He's always in the wrong position. I would need somebody to maybe hold still for a turn? Is that what I want? I certainly don't see it being feasible to trap the Hydra anywhere for one turn. Not while I'm also trying to manipulate this other guy around. Into not dying. He's just too fast. They just have speeds too different to ever collide them with each other accurately enough. I don't think this is enough of a choke point to help me. I wonder if I would have been better off splitting him into two hydras, into two shorter hydras, back when I first let him out. Although I'm not sure if I can actually arrange that, I wonder if that would have been a better use of the first adder bite. Yeah, it's possible. Does this have the same parity problem, though? Not with that one, it doesn't. Does this one still have the wrong parity? No. Okay, then. That is a really strange way to fix that problem, but okay. I don't even completely understand how this changes the resulting parities, but I can only be it worked, I guess. Right, Hydra dead, everybody dead. And here's a room with lots of Ormites. Oh boy. I don't even know what all this nonsense is. Some kind of weird alternating thing. Well, This is a one-level hold, I'm pretty sure. It sure seems like one, anyway. I'll probably take more look at it in my own time, but... Anyway, I think this is good for looking at this one for now. I'll, move on to a new hold after this, but first I'll read this. Log 35-15123. It's too late. The Hydra have infested my ship and drifted away. If only I could leave this place and warn the world of this danger. I guess I only glanced at this room and didn't even try it. Hey, it has a note in it. I'm gonna read that note. Provided it doesn't require too much effort to do so. I guess this was his house? Probably. Something to do with spikes here. Oh, this is just pushing them in. This is just pushing them into where the floor spikes are, isn't it? And it might have some parity trickery, I don't know. But it's not very hard to push these guys in here. Oh boy. Do I need to time this or something? I don't know. I guess that's the trick to this room, is finding a way to do that. Anyway, log 833245. Perhaps I have gone too far. The Hydra have invaded my living quarters. I can only pray to survive by hiding here. Wrong pray. Whatever. Anyway, that's the island of Dr. Morso, and that's a deeply fascinating element. Just a few bit too frustrating rooms, in my opinion. Anyway, I think I did Outpost last time. I guess the Oversight is what I was, what I left off before. The very last of the O's. At least as far as I can tell. Yeah. So, Saul Glassman, Surrealism Awaits. Okay. Well, the Oversight. Before we start, there are a few things you should know. From 04, huh? Bethro is annoyed, very annoyed. He's had a lousy day cleaning out some idiot's basement, and in any case, he's been in a bad mood ever since he got up. Upon returning home and being greeted by a talking capybara, Bethro is even more annoyed. What do you want, outsized rodent, he asks. My name is Ella, says the capybara, and I've got a job for you. Tell me what it is, and I might consider it. Just a little cave called the Oversight. You shouldn't have any problem. Bethro is going suspicious. Who sent you? The king, says Ellie the capybara. King Dugan? No, not a petty monarch like that. I'm talking about the king, with a capital K. Right, says Bethro. So how much are you going to pay me? Nothing, says the capybara. Now Bethro's angry. What? He bellows. You want me to work for nothing? I'm afraid you haven't much choice, says the capybara quietly. And then Bethro is falling. The Oversight. The cavern of the Oversight is well lit and expansive, yet cramped. They say small is beautiful, but sometimes they're wrong. Miniatures, huh? The landing pad. Alright, let's... Well, I'm not detecting much surrealism yet, but this first room has some teeth, especially for a Dugan's Dungeon level era, or an AE era hold. Racetrack. Alright, we're giving all of these puzzles names, I guess. What am I detecting here? Okay. doesn't seem like either option actually helps. Oh, never mind, I'm good. Okay, alright, so... maybe if I face this way. Oh, that's interesting. This works. I'm not sure if it's I'm sure maybe it's possible to do this with the trapdoor gate, but I don't know. How did Doom do this? Looks like he pushed the button. Interesting. Alright, well anyway, this room has a Wraithwing in it. Did you know that Wraithwing... Lonely Bridge. Yeah. Oh boy. I think this is... Alright, this isn't too bad. Okay. I was concerned because you can make rooms that visibly look like that and are extreme pain to deal with. So, at least it wasn't that. Alright, that wasn't too bad. What's to the north? Infested Field. We have one of these classic and very irritating long pathway to make sure the Roach Queens can spawn. Oh boy. I'm so glad we made technology that makes this sort of thing completely unnecessary in the future. It allows you to just control weight your way into the room being built. Into the room having as many roaches as the author wanted. Although, of course, it has always been the case with this sort of room that, why don't you just put the roaches in instead of having them be spawned? Anyway, this not too bad of a horde room. Getting inside is actually pretty easy. And once you're inside, there's very little trouble to be had. Ta-da! What's with this complicated green door passageway? I guess it's just decorative. Because if you want to go north, you'll have to go around anyway. Alright. Well, what's to north titled? It is good to see that that person, if you're correct about who it is capable of making some tough puzzles. Alive. Okay. Yeah, that's definitely the word you wrote in Yellow Doors up there. I guess the goblins are alive? I don't know. I don't know what the concept of alive has to do with this room other than it being written in the door. My guess would have to be that that room was built, but they couldn't think of a good title, so they just put the word alive in there and decided to title it that too. Anyway. Oh boy. I don't get to see the title of this one. I do get to experience the nightmare, though. Oh. Won't you please come east onto the trap, Mr. Serpent, over there? I'm gonna be trying to block serpents with my swords forever now, after getting used to doing it with the hydras. Maybe not, though. I'm just trying to race north enough so that he's going to only have me to his east instead of wandering around the other direction. I just can't seem to make that work, though. Oh, there we go. One snake down. One snake nice and trapped. Now if I can just not get myself trapped, I'll be good. There we go. Next. You, please. Come this way. Come this way. Well, one of them died at least. Alright, one to go. I'm to be too close to this guy unless he just decides to go there. Okay, so that was the first half, and I guess we have two halves. And the other half is called The Stones Breathe. Okay. What? What do the stones breathe? Do they breathe contempt? Do they breathe conceptual hatred? Isn't that the same thing as contempt? Anyway, this particular configuration of tar stuff on trapdoors doesn't really worry me too much. It's very easy to fully cut that, provided there's no secrets, there's no tricks like wall hiding under him or under that bit of tar or something. Easy. At least there's no way to backtrack problem yourself here. Probably. I don't think it's possible. You'd have to, like, lead a... Do I have to do this again if I... Oh, no. Okay, there's not a way to the east. I thought there might be a way to the east, and I was like, do I have to do this again to go east? No. Haze. Haze. Otherwise known as... Mildly irritating adventure with a mimic. Oh boy. That sounds like a good old title, right? The oh boy is part of the title. Live in terror. Well, that's a command. That's an imperative. Okay, I have to face southeast because there's an eye in the way. After which, what do I do? What do I do? How do I do it? Oh, there we go. Perfect. Nice and easy. I guess I did and didn't see it. Bright star. Check that out. Got some room art of spiders here. And that's literally all there is to this room. Okay. Nice first level. What's down here? Ouroboros. Beethro complains that he is deeply unsatisfied with his life as an exterminator. Don't want life? Invites the snake. I can give you death. No thanks, Beethro cries. Seeing that nothing will satisfy him, the snake swallows Beethro whole. Interesting. Sprawling emblem. Swallowing your own tail will get you nowhere in life. Okay. Sure. That is probably a true statement, depending on what it's supposed to mean. The tar mines. So, what is this about? I guess I need to grab a tar baby over here while I kill... Alright, so first of all, I think I want to kill this and not have to deal with it. Secondly, I have to grab a tar baby out of here and trap it somewhere convenient so that I can use it for that snake later. There's a handy broken wall here I just noticed, so let's do that. Okay. And I still have enough trapdoor leeway to enter and exit this area the final time. But I need to be careful with that. If I'd been a little more efficient killing the tar mother, this wouldn't be a problem, but at least there's no black door anyway. I think this was before black doors were invented, right? Perfect. Now we use this guy to achieve our goals. Probably. I don't know why I don't know why, but I'm having trouble with the basic thing that's just pulling the tar baby out to the right way. Maybe this is what I need. There we go. This is the maneuver I was trying to think of, but couldn't somehow. What do I do here? I need a bit more space. I feel like I'm vastly overthinking something that should be very simple. There we go. This is what I had in mind. Something like this, get lots of distance, pull myself out of his way, and then there we go. Kill that snake. Thank you. Very nice. What's to the south? Discrepancy 6. What? Well... My very first thought is to pull this roach into the snake zone, one way or another. And I think that's completely necessary because I can't exist inside of the snake zone as it stands right now. How do I get him on that force arrow? Maybe I'm rotating the wrong direction or something? Darn vertical preference. I'm just not sure what this wants from me, or how to achieve it. Again, I'm probably overcomplicating something that's really simple. Wait. When did that start having 2 tiles? That had only 1 empty tile before. What happened? I know that I only saw 1 empty tile before. So how did there suddenly 3 of them? I don't understand what I did. Or how it happened. Well, whatever. This is weird. Oh, is this what was different? I'm not really clear on how that was changed, but okay. Sure, I guess. I just need to find a way to get this roach to come in with me. and I'll be good. Maybe that's good enough if I can survive it? Am I facing the wrong way? Well, I can't change the way I'm facing, so... What does this want me to do, and how am I supposed to do it? Maybe, but it's much easier to kill him with a roach, if I can. That's true, but it doesn't actually help unless I can get past the place where he keeps killing me. Okay, this time he decided to go north, which is kind of what I was after. Alright, now the roach can kill him. And now I just need to somehow pull the roach into the inner path. Alright, somehow I say that it's actually not very hard. I can do it remotely even. Yeah, nice and easy. Guess I'll go ahead and free that other roach, which I can't help but feel the architect probably thought was necessary for the second snake or something, but it wasn't. Alright then. I don't know what this has to do with the value 6. It's called discrepancy 6, but I don't know where the 6 is. I mean, I don't think it's the 6th discrepancy, but I don't know what's 6 about it. Whatever, anyway. 1 south. The Screen. That's a name. Wait. Oh, I see it. Okay. Do you see it? I'm curious. Does anyone else see what I see in this? In this room? About the title and meaning the title? That's a separate path right there, which is only accessible if you go to the right here, I guess. Okay. Worth noting. Because room borders aren't visible on the map, it looks like it's just another exit to that room, but really it's another exit to the room before it. This is called The Scream, this room. And it took me a bit, but you can sort of see maybe what about it looks squeamish. Basically the snake loops are the eyes and mouth is all I'm getting at. Once again, how do I go about this? Maybe I need to flip around and try trap him here. I don't think that leaves me enough room to get past, though. No. Should I have started with this one? Well, I can always return to the entrance area if I think it'll help. What did I do in there before? How do I enter this room? So, put him there. Okay. How does that work? There we go. I don't know why I thought this might help, but maybe it does? Nah. Well, I don't know. Maybe I have enough space? I almost have enough space here. Not quite. Maybe... That was incredibly simple. I must be extremely exhausted to have trouble with that. Okay. What's to the east? Oh. Opportunities for disorder. Yeah. Yeah, I think disorder describes this room just fine. I guess I just need to wander into this snake path to go get that roach to help kill the last of those other snakes. And also try not to get killed by this snake in the process, hopefully. Ideally, the roach would be a bit farther south. So let's try to arrange that. That's about as far south as I can put him. I'll gain a little more leeway being able to move diagonally into this thing. do that, but yeah, that's probably better. And he decided to bonk himself to death anyway, mostly. Bonk himself mostly to death. Which I can make entirely to death using this roach. Alright. So do I want to do that? Or do I want to push the roach into there and try to have him finish them off? I think the latter would be better, if I can achieve that. Let's see, maybe do this, and that. Yeah, okay. This seems ideal. Ta-da! I just wanted to not have to go right up against a snake for once. I don't know. That one looks really interesting. I would like to kind of skip these others and get to it. But I can't. Okay. I'm not allowed to go north, I guess, until I clear this room. Shame. Well, then again, there is a path going all the way around from here. Ooh, look at this. This is a lot of interesting rooms. Oh, go away. I don't even care about you right now. I'm just trying to see what's to the west of here. Okay, this room. Essence. Alright, so invisibility potion. So that means... Which of these is not going to be able to see me once I'm invisible? That guy can see me, but not in an ideal way. I can rotate that one just fine. I guess I can rotate all of them just fine. So I don't need to worry about that. So it seems. Oh yeah, I need to actually make these guys die. Now let's see. Rotate you. Perfect. It's kind of weird that snakes can't die unless they're trying to move, isn't it? Okay, my mistake. That south one needs to be in a good position first. That's the one that matters. And of course it's the one that I messed up. These things happen. Sorry. Okay, that's good. Now I can just push that guy into position. There we go. Kill you. Kill you. And you. Now I'll take the last potion. When I first looked at this room from the other side, for some reason, even though it doesn't make any sense, I thought I perceived the the mimic potion as a decoy potion. Oh. Okay, hang on. Which was why I was like, whoa, what's going on here? Because I was like, oh, we have decoy potion in a room where you can't have a thing. My mistake. So, okay. I just need to progress that one, and then push this guy through. And all of my problems will be solved. Maybe. At least some of them will be. these in position so that nothing can go wrong there. Then do that. Then do this. Like, this isn't terribly hard, I just messed up twice. In dumb ways. We don't want to push you too far north, do we? Or south. Have to be a little careful about that sort of thing, I guess. This is fine, though. There we go. Essence. Yep. Oh, that's, nice. Anyway. So what's this room with all the brains? What is this? Murder Victorious. What? Okay, well... I guess my goal is to kill all the brains first, right? Because we have this... Well, okay. I could mitigate this brained tar horde, maybe. Is that a good start? I don't know. It seems unrealistic to expect that I'll be able to actually be effective at doing that. Maybe I'm better off just killing all the brains while trying to survive the tar horde? Because in my perception, I kind of want to unbrain the tar horde and then carry a tar baby into an unbrained tar baby, pull an unbrained tar baby into the snake trap to kill the snake with. Okay, I need to... Okay. Better strategy. Kill the eastmost brains first, while there's no horde, because the horde makes killing eastern brains a giant pain. Something I was wondering, although I think iCubic might have left by now, his username on Twitch is GM something. I was wondering if he GMs any D&D or something, if that was why it was called that. Just out of curiosity. Alright. Sheesh. That's also a possibility, I guess. I guess for some reason Game Master is what comes to my head when I hear GM. That or General Motors, but I'm pretty sure that's not what applies here. Alright then, Murder Victorious. I feel like maybe there's too many slashes here. Maybe in the original Architects Edition there was more room and the formatting would have looked better. This is the sideways room. Alright. Not a really long path through all this. I kind of wonder about the south path again. Oh, this is not the way to get there. This feels like a secret room path, but it's definitely not one, which is a little odd. Oh, yeah, okay. Probably. What be this? You put tar on walls, that's what this be. Cursed Labyrinth. Yeah, cursed by every Drod player ever. Don't do this. But I guess this was before we said not to do this. This is also before we invented vision potions. Potions? Vision tokens to make this even slightly reasonable. But it's before we invented puzzle modes, so at least I have technology from the future to help me solve this terrible maze. Need to turn my sword around here and not poke the things that I would poke. There we go. Have to attack that from the other side to not get killed by it. Oh, hey. I played the Island of Dr. Morso earlier because it's earlier than O in the order of alphabet when you omit the T. I guess you can look at the recording of all that. I found the puff rooms to be excessively frustrating, but especially the one where you're supposed to shape some fluff while being harassed. Overall, I like the element. I think it has a few quirky behaviors which may have been completely unavoidable for all I know. But I remain completely just stunned by your ability to script things that I think are impossible. How do I get in here? How do I not die to the tar babies on my way in here? There's probably some maneuver for this that I'm just not catching on to. I don't know what other options I have here, though. I can't cut it from another angle because then... Let's try going back a little bit. Right, back here. Let's leave that corner there on. Let's see if I can still get in there like that. Not quite. Well, this doesn't work. Oh, maybe I can cut it from the other side if I start like this. Yeah, I can go back out and cut it from the wall on the other side, and that should be safe enough. It does require backing out of the maze, which is kind of irritating, but this should work. Because the resulting babies are not trying to surround me as a result. Feels a bit like the don't touch the walls puzzle in Spoilers. If you know what I'm talking about. Don't stab the walls puzzle. Yeah. Boom. No more brain for you. To be honest, I forgot what the location is called, but, like, I know what's there. Okay. So... I guess at this point I should try to find a way to actually kill the serpent, which I haven't been thinking about until now. How is this supposed to work? I guess I'm supposed to... Whoops. I guess I'm supposed to somehow get a tar baby in there. No, I have to get in there, so... Oh, alright. That's just another exit to the labyrinth. Got it. But I do probably need to, Excuse me. Anyway, I do need to bring a tar baby in here in some way. I think maybe just leaving those two alive and then leaving one of those two alive and then leaving the labyrinth pulling him along should work. It's a bit of a pain that I have to do this before killing the stupid Roach Queen, though. Ugh. So, how does an Ouroboros eat you? I mean, its mouth is already full. The only way I could imagine an Ouroboros actually killing someone is by, doing the snake-like thing of wrapping itself around the person. But even then, how would it eat the resulting dead body? Not any way I can think of. So to be perfectly honest, I don't really remember what a capybara looks like. I think what pops up in my head is something vaguely related to a camel, but I'm pretty sure that's wrong. The fearsome enemy. Brain snakes are indeed fearsome, I guess. Sorry. Alright. That's the fearsome enemy done. Now to deal with a less fearsome enemy of actually putting things into things the correct way. he's trapped, so I don't have to worry about that. Killed that snake. Let's just carry this snake into position. There we go. Done. All done. Alright, we completed the loop. It's an empty room. A checkpoint's in the shape of a checkpoint. How nice. The King's Mark. So the king marks everything with an X? Okay then. And we're back to this room that I've seen before, but didn't really interact with. Eyeballs. Eyeball salvage. Alright, look. It's 30 minutes after when I would normally stop. I just wanted to have a better look at this than nothing. A better look at this than a half hour would afford. I was motivated to at least make... Whoa, no. To at least make progress and maybe finish the O's today after looking at the other thing. This is a good place to stop. Also, I'm coughing, and I think it's very irritating. Maybe it isn't as irritating to you as it is to me because it also physically hurts, but I think ceasing to talk for a while might help cure the cough a little bit, although it hasn't completely gone away after a couple weeks. But yeah, for now I think this is enough. Next time I'll come back to start the letter P, which I think I have downloaded all of that. LMNOP, yeah. Okay, so make sure to check out the earlier part of this where I was actually running about through the island of Dr. Morso, if you didn't see that. I at least have comments, although I don't know how helpful they are. And I'm sorry I couldn't help with testing it any more than I already did. I just didn't, I don't know, I never had time, never took time to download and actually look through it at the time. Anyway, farewell for now.